Welcome to ABL Hot Corner, the show that brings you all the good stuff from around the Australian Baseball League. I'm Boris Kilpatrick, and with me is Jamie Janga Cloden, and tonight it's all about Brisbane Bandits painting the town yellow. So tonight we're filming from Sporty's Bar at the Arca Bar. Closed, not a bad venue.
Not bad. Well, the beers are cold. That's a good start, I reckon.
Looking around, we've got Super Bowl, we've got cricket on. It's all happening.
It is all happening. They've been kind enough to let us take over a section of the bar for the night. So thank you to the Arc.
If you're looking for some sport, looking for a beer, come down to Sporty's at the Arca Bar.
There's plenty of both.
Well, it's all done and dusted clothes.
It is.
The championship has been run.
And one.
And won by the all-conquering Brisbane Bandits. How about you run us through the couple of games and tell us what you saw?
Well, we saw Brisbane dominate the championship series. That's basically what they did. Everyone knows by now that's watching this, they know who won. Brisbane took the games 7-4 in the first, 7-1 in the second. And really, apart from about one inning where it was tight, they just dominated. They didn't even go to woe. Well, game one was all... It had the potential to be a pitcher's duel. Jason Jarvis and Tolsey, or Josh Tolles from Adelaide. Two guys in pretty good form of late. Tolsey coming out of the bullpen, we know his story, how he's joined the rotation just towards the end of the year and has been lights out. Jarvis has been Mr. Consistent all year, winning 8 games. But it just wasn't to be.
Tolsey didn't have his best game, did he?
No, he got hit around a bit, had a little bit of trouble finding the zone. And Jarvis as well didn't have his best game. But was managed to give Nielsen 5 strong. Been a big day downstairs.
Big day downstairs. Super Bowl Monday.
Yeah.
Someone's had a few.
But Jarvis, he went 5 strong, which basically would have been the what he was, the instructions to get to that bullpen.
Yeah. And for Brisbane, it was Braylon Jackson, who had the big hit.
Well, he hit a solo shot in the first to get things underway.
Cooking.
So I think we spoke last week about the Brisbane crowd, that Adelaide really needed to silence them and get on top early, and the exact opposite happened. Braylon Jackson
jumped out.
Yeah, he hit the long shot that got the crowd really pumping right from the start. Steph Welsh did tie it up in the third. He drove in Kyle Petty to get the score back to 1-1. But really, that was about it. After that, the big shot in the third was when they scored 4. Donald Lutz hit a big triple.
Monster one.
Yeah, that was really the big blow that broke it open a little bit, and then TJ Bennett with his 2-run single just broke it right open. Which really from there it was always going to look hard for Adelaide to get back. They did though with Angus Roger.
He hit an Oppo bomb.
3-run shot,
got it back to 5-4, I think, at that stage.
Yeah, 5-4, and then Brisbane's still looking the goods, but Adelaide
they couldn't hold it.
Close. No.
Just couldn't hold the bats down.
No, well then you fast forward to the 6th inning, and Taylor Stanton came on, gave up a lead-off walk, and then struck out the side.
Struck out 3.
Yeah, so he was stage 1 of that dominant relief call. After him, Matty Williams came in and. No good, TJ Bennett smoked him out over. So 5-4 to 6-4 was only a solo shot, but just kept the momentum going the Brisbane way.
They just couldn't. Adelaide couldn't stem the flow, could they? Brisbane kept chipping away, adding runs. Whereas on the flip side, that Brisbane bullpen, as we discussed, was just as expected, lights out.
Well, that's it. They just didn't give it any opportunities. Kyle Petty again and Steph Welsh gave the Bite a hint of an opportunity again. In the 7th with Eric Green on the hill, came in throwing from the left side. So Bite had runners on first and second and none out. But unfortunately, unfortunately for the Bite, Brycey couldn't get the bunt down.
Yeah, it's a bit of an ugly inning, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't get it down. You know, it's pretty tough position, not bunting that often on Brycey. But, you know, guys at that level, they've got to get it done, don't they?
Well, that's it. And then, so instead of first and second, none out, straight away, first and second, 1 out. Roger came up, and really the only at bat where he didn't look dangerous for the whole weekend. Ground ball out, turned into a double play, inning over, and there goes the threat.
There it goes. And at the end of the day, I think Brisbane added a run late. Dallas Gallant had a bit of a throwing error, which Push one more across.
Yeah, he just gave up that extra one to give it a 3-run buffer for the Bandits on an unearned one.
Which you can't afford. You can't afford that sort of little bit of sloppiness in your game when you're playing for the marbles, can you?
Well, that's right. Defense is such a big thing when you we look at the Kansas City Royals who've just cleaned up in the World Series. They did all the little things. They got the bunts down. They played tight D for the whole series, and that's that's where Bite maybe had a couple opportunities to really get back in the game. Just didn't quite happen through that. And then after that, I mean, pretty handy when you got Ryan Sell coming in to pitch the ninth with a 3-run lead.
What did we say last week?
You don't get
the runs early because you won't get them off early. And it was so true. He 3 strikeouts, bang, bang, bang.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for playing. Game over.
And there's your 7-4 game.
There's game 1.
Yeah.
Locked away. Then we had a bit of interesting weather coming into game 2.
Yeah, wasn't quite sure what was going to happen there, but they did get underway.
Plenty of rain coming down, which, I mean, normally that's been good for Adelaide. They've been
last week it was.
The mudders.
Yeah, last week, Friday night in Adelaide was torrential, and Canberra we saw people making snowmen out of the hail.
Absolutely, but this time things didn't go their way again.
No, well, the Bite, I mean, it was the last throw of the dice, so they threw Stephen Chambers the ball. He took the start, who's, like Jarvis, was an 8-game winner through the year. So he really was the Bite ace, so he came in to try and restore some order. But pretty handy guy for the Bandits to throw the ball to. Yeah, Travis Blackley. Yeah, been a huge addition in the second part of the season for them. So, so it was all up to him really to give the Bandits their first title in 20-odd years.
Did not disappoint.
Not at all. Couple early scoring chances for both teams, but I don't know whether it's the nerves. You never know in the final game. Didn't quite happen, but then we got to the third inning, bottom of the third. So Adelaide finished up in the third. Went go down to the bottom half. Riley Unroe bunt single with one out to get things rolling. Logan Wade popped up, so there's 2 out. Run on first before Justin Williams straight one up the middle.
Just not one right in the guts.
Yeah, so we had a couple of runners on for the big man Donald Lutz again.
Yeah, Lutzy had a fair attack at it, didn't he? Fair series for the big unit.
Well, he had a decent swing at this one, and needless to say, it went a long way.
Possibly still going.
But it was a huge hit, and the crowd just went mad, as you would expect.
Yeah, sort of released the pressure for Brisbane, I think. Like that big bomb puts him in front at home. You know, takes the pressure off.
Well, being a 0-0 game up to that point, everything's still tense. The players are tense, the crowd's tense, and that in the space of a couple of seconds, ball goes 400 feet and see you later, 3-0 ball game. It's
3 runs in the tank, and you've got Blackley pitching. You're in pretty good shape.
Exactly
with that bullpen to follow.
And it's. They're the sort of hits too. We'll still be talking about 20, 30 years from now. The big one. Well, they will be in Brisbane anyway. That's for sure.
No doubt.
The big one that really sealed the deal. The Bite just couldn't get back from there. And the fourth inning, one of the guys that you're really happy to see take the title home, Goofy Sutherland, been around for a while now. So he let off with a hit and eventually came around to score an unearned run in the 5th. And it was really looking trouble station for the Bite by that stage. Kyle Petty. He continued what he's been doing all year.
Yeah.
He hit another home run. Unfortunately, it wasn't a 5 or 6 run shot.
Napoleon solo.
Yes, exactly. And that's all he was able. Yeah. So the next inning, the Bandits just keep getting it done. 3 more hits, 2 more runs. And by that stage, they were ready to hand it over to Matt Timms.
It was getting a bit sad for the Bite fans, wasn't it? We were thinking then, here we go, it's down to Timsy and Surly.
Yeah.
It's all over.
Well, Timms threw 7 and 8, and then once again, Searle took the ball in the 9th, even though, I mean, obviously not a safe situation, but the season's on the line.
Yeah, just piffed it in there.
Give it to your best guy.
Piffed it in.
So by the time Corey Lyon came in to pinch hit for the Bite with 2 out in the 9th, he flies out to right field, Justin Williams takes the catch, and hallelujah.
Party time for the Bandits and the Bandits.
The Bandits loving it.
Yeah.
She was pretty loud up at Holloway.
Yeah, it certainly was. And look, at the end of the day, they were the best team all season. Couldn't deny that. So they went. We discussed last week they were 23 and 5 at home, 25 and 5 at home now because they've been 2 consecutive. I mean that's just unbelievable. 25 and 5 at home cooking.
Yep.
Some serious home cooking. Better home cooking than Matt Merrington back in Melbourne, that's saying something. I've seen that's a fair spread.
I've heard that's good.
Absolutely. But so those guys, I mean, Adelaide were up against it going up there. They would have gone with an attitude that just have a crack, and they did. And hats off to Minty and the boys for their season, but there's no doubt that the best team won at the end.
Yeah, well, you said before that Brisbane have been the best side all year. That's probably not 100% the case, because out of the gates, Canberra were unbelievable.
Collectively, I think.
Yeah, but even then, when Canberra looked like they were going to streak away, Brisbane was still right on their tails the whole time. Never let them get away.
They've added along the way as well.
Exactly right.
Just sort of bolstered any weakness they had. They've been able to fill that void. And obviously Blackley, massive.
Blackley and Lutz, the two.
Lutz, who, those guys at the end of the day, made a big difference.
Well, Lutz wins the championship MVP, and Blackley gets the win in the deciding game. So hats off to the recruiters in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So to the Brizzy boys, congratulations.
Congrats, lads.
Well played. To Adelaide, commiserations. A really good season. But once again, unfortunately, close but no cigar.
Well, yeah, number 3, I think, for the Bite, number 2nd in the revamped ABL. So, again around the mark. But so Brisbane are now jump on board with Perth and Canberra as title holders.
Yep, on board as the winners, and they painted the town yellow. They lit up the Story Bridge last night, all yellow. So they're having a great time up there. They do it right, don't they? They really do it right.
And it is good to see baseball getting a bit of press up there too.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got really good press up there.
So nationwide, it hasn't necessarily been the highest publicised sports event of the weekend. I know something in America that was happening. That been
some sort of gridiron thing going on.
Yeah, something or other.
Bit of a dud game in the end, really.
Boring.
24-10.
Why wouldn't you rather watch Lutzy stick him out over the right field?
I'd rather watch Lutzy hit some Johnsons and Sturley piff some 95 1-hour fasters.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So what on Brizzy? Like I said, best team all year. Back to the drawing board for Adelaide.
Yes, yeah.
They're close. They just want to get over the line next season. They'll be mad keen.
Yes, well, as will Sydney and Melbourne. They're the 3 teams now that have the empty trophy cabinet, so they'll be looking for bigger and better things. But as we're going to discuss in a minute, quite a lot of guys that were involved both in the weekend, but also from the other teams, now look towards the WBC.
WBC coming up, so we'll have a quick break and then we'll talk about the World Baseball Championship.
We will. Okay, so next on the agenda baseball-wise is the World Baseball Classic. We've got the qualifiers coming up as Australians against New Zealand, South Africa and the Philippines. You've got a bit of a preview set up for us, Boris.
Just going to have a bit of a chat about baseball hasn't finished in Oz yet. The boys have now travelled across to Sydney for the qualifiers. And it's big for Australia. We have to win.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt, got to win. We want to be in the WBC, the playoffs, the finals. So got to knock off the New Zealanders, the Filipinos, and the South Africans.
Well, that's where if you want to start getting international exposure and getting Australia in the lights in the baseball world, this is the number 1 opportunity these days.
And the perfect time for the guys coming off the season. I mean, they should be raring to go. They've just been playing in form, go and bang out some hits, piffs and pills.
That's it. And if you have a look at the roster for Australia, there's a lot of guys that have literally been playing a big part in the ABL for their teams, and should be red hot and raring to go.
You've got plenty of guys on major league affiliated teams, with obviously Sam Gibbons for at Salpole. You've got Toddy Van Stinsel.
Yes.
Steve Fitty Kent, who's obviously pitched well this year. Matt Kennelly, Logan Wade, and youngsters. We've got James Berriford, who's had a really good season last year.
Quality,
obviously Harmon, Pete Moylan in there, throwing some side pieces. So it's a pretty damn good roster. Unfortunately, there's one guy that's missing that will be pretty handy to have, and that's Liam Hendricks. Yeah,
well, he's and obviously been in the news lately too. He got traded from the Blue Jays to Oakland in a deal for Jesse Chavez. So he'll be donning the green and gold this year.
And another one.
Yes.
Instead of the green and gold for Australia, the green and gold for the Oakland A's.
Yeah, be able to wear the same socks.
There it is. Following the steps of Grant Belt.
Exactly right, and who had a bit of a cult following there by the end of his Oakland stay. So who knows what's in store for Hendrick.
Yeah, so a bit of a loss for the Aussies, but on the flip side, they've asked Trent Olgin to come back and have a swing.
Now that's a pretty handy guy to have at the top of the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. A really good back to have in there. Outfield probably a little bit thin as far as numbers go.
Yep.
So adding him does bolster the offense somewhat.
And a lot of experience playing in international tournaments. He's done everything. He's played in the bigs. He's played a lot for Australia before. Just brings that another veteran presence to the side.
Yeah. Before we start talking a little bit about the roster for the Australians, we'll talk about the teams they're playing against. There's a couple of guys of note for a couple of the teams.
Well, the Philippines have got an ex-big leaguer.
Clay Rapata. Used to be a New York Yankee.
Yes.
Big sort of middle relief guy for the Yankees, and he's on their roster, so that gives them a bit of a boost.
Yep.
And for South Africa, old mate.
Gift,
you go. Gift is back. That's providing he turns up. Maybe Xavier Paul might be in tow when he turns up as well.
Yeah, we'll try and leave Xavier out of the recruiting this time.
Maybe leave him out. But yeah, so that's a big ad for South Africa. Obviously, very good defensive shortstop.
Yeah.
And can hit the pillar bit.
Well, yeah, we had played some decent ball in the minors last year.
Yep.
Both double and triple A. So he's certainly their number one guy, like you say, Rapata for the Philippines. At least these I guess you say minnows of the international.
Yeah. It's fair to say.
Yeah, landscape for the baseball wise, it's good to have these guys in there and. Gives them a sporting chance, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Even New Zealand, not a bad team. They've got guy Nick Moron from the Cleveland organisation.
Yep.
He throws it all right. I think last year he pitched double A.
Yep.
And ranked up, with some strikeouts. Mm-hmm. I think he had. I'm looking at my notes. I can't read it, but yeah, look, he 93 strikeouts, 92 innings.
That's the one.
Found it.
That's the one.
So he can pick the pill. That's a pretty big ad for those guys.
4.70 ERA too. I think you skipped over that line too.
Yeah, well, it didn't look too good.
No.
I thought the 93K, 32 did made him sound a bit better. So I went with that. But like, I mean, these teams, I guess it comes down to after the initial games, you've got your one game playoff. So any team, any day.
Well, that's right. And just sticking with New Zealand too, we've got a bit of an Adelaide Bite feel to it too, with Connor O'Gorman
and
Bo Bishop, who didn't play too much with the Bite this year, but has been on the roster for a couple of years now. Both
flying his trade at Glenelg Baseball Club.
So they're both involved with the Diamond Blacks.
Yes, correct.
And I would imagine the way that the season that Connor O'Gorman had, is a fair chance to be on the dish a fair bit.
You would say so. So that'll be a bit of a dark horse, I think.
Yeah, well, you'd think on paper it would be out of Australia and New Zealand. They're definitely the top two sides in terms of the cattle they've got out in the roster. But
yeah,
you just never know. Rapata gets out there for Philippines and
Rapata
throws a doozy.
Throws some rapid Rapata goes harder.
Yes.
You never know. So yeah, kicks off on February 11. Mm-hmm. That's South Africa versus New Zealand.
Yes.
And then the Aussies back it up that same day for the nightcap against the Philippines.
Yeah. So
and then from there it works out to whoever wins and whoever loses. They structure who plays who.
Yes.
And then hopefully the Aussies in the final game on the 14th,
yes.
on Sunday, to get through and hopefully make it all the way to the World Baseball Championship in March.
Which, as we say, will be huge. And should be a pretty good weekend of baseball. So we'll be playing in Sydney. So if you're in Sydney and want to see some great balls, it's the best of the best that Australia's got to offer. So get on down there and check them out.
We already know of some guys flying across to have a look, so yeah, obviously the more support they can get, the better for the boys.
For sure.
We'll have a quick break and then we're going to have a bit of a run the slide rule across the Aussie roster and see what we can find.
So here we go.
The Arca Bar is a popular destination in Adelaide for all different types of people to come and watch their sport, have dinner, enjoy a live band upstairs, listen to some acoustic music, or just sit back and relax and enjoy a beautiful room in one of our accommodation suites. Sporty's Bar is one of the best sports bar in Australia, and we actually pride ourselves on always being having the leading edge for someone to come and watch sports. We have a great menu in the sports bar. You can range anything from hamburgers to hot dogs to the classic pub food. We have an outside area which can cater for all different types of weather. There's also the TAB auditorium for people to use.
The Arca Bar's got a great feel, it's got people, it's got music, great bar staff. You can always get a cold beer and there's plenty of TAB facilities. The hum and the vibrancy of the place is great.
Our lounge bar has a great ambience to it. If you're looking for a glass of wine, some fine dining, it's the place to be at the Arca Bar Hotel, featuring our fantastic Enomatic machine, which hosts a lot of the leading wines in South Australia. In the restaurant we have a little bit of a different menu, but the Sporties menu is available in the restaurant, and we do lots of daily specials. We even pride ourselves on doing some really good Asian dishes. Find the Arca Bar Hotel on the corner of Fullerton and Glad Osmond Road. Come down and enjoy.
So, Close, just a bit of a discussion about the Aussie roster for the WBC. Just running the eyes down the list here. What takes your eye? What do you see?
Well, looking at the pictures, I see three obvious candidates off the back of the ABL season. Three candidates for the starting role. You look at Travis Blackley, Stephen Chambers, and Stephen Kent.
Yeah, pretty tidy. bunch of three.
All in pretty good nick too.
Yeah, real good nick.
I mean, you probably look at Blackley, I guess, as the ace there.
Yeah, I'd say so. Chambers and Kent, good workhorses, and they'll do pretty well. I think it's a pretty good starting three to have. Obviously, the absence of Henrik hurts a little bit there, but those three guys can get the job done.
And you got the lefties, righties, so that's not a bad bunch of starters.
You got Wayne Lundgren as well in there as a starter who can be used at pitch if they need him.
Yeah, and even you look at Justin Erasmus, who started a lot with the Bandits this year.
Yeah, flexible guy. They've got a few guys who can do both.
Yeah.
Matty Williams as well, discussed in the past, can do either. But the bullpen looks pretty sweet.
Bullpen looks real good. I mean, obviously the star there, you look at the number one guy, Ryan Searle, he'll be you would assume will be the closer.
And with the close guy. You got Warwick Salpole, who's just started to pitch really well getting into the season.
Yep.
Got his work in with the heat late in the year, and he'll be strong.
Yep. Searle's mate, Brisbane, Matty Timms.
Timsy.
He's there in some sort of a setup capacity again.
Joshy Tiles, of course, on the left.
Yeah, well, actually, looking at the two bite guys that are there, Josh Tiles and Matty Williams, both would be, you think, long relief guys. You can throw multiple innings. Obviously, both spent time in both the pen and the rotation this year, so they're a couple of guys definitely that can throw multiple innings.
Yep. Toddy Van Stencil, who's throwing some gas this time of the year.
Well, he's another guy that's got plenty of closing experience too, so he'd be somewhere right towards the back end as well.
And he's probably right at the top of the quality banter in the bullpen, I'm guessing.
It'll be pretty entertaining looking at some of those names on that list.
It'd be a bit of a fun bullpen to be.
They'd have a great time, I reckon.
Yeah. So, pitching pretty good shape. The two catchers, Alan DeSan Miguel, of course, who's been sensational all season, and Robbie Perkins from Canberra.
Well, pretty good mix
young
with those
fella.
two. Yeah, with those two, you got DeSan, who is a pretty. Yes, he's a good catcher, but he's a very offensive catcher.
Offense.
Swings a good bat, whereas Robbie Perkins is probably
really
the opposite, where. He's still a good bat.
It's a good combo, isn't
great
it?
glove, yeah. So it's a really good mixture to have those two guys to flip a coin. Either's going to do the job.
Yeah, I think looking at the team too, the infield is very strong. Very strong. You've got James Beresford, of course.
Yes.
Who was playing up to AAA last year, so he's in form. D'Antonio, who was lights out all year for the Blue Sox.
Yeah, well, his second half was just phenomenal if you can keep that form rolling.
Yep, Brad Harmon, who can lead the yard consistently. That's three really good bats.
Yeah.
As well as guys who can field the field.
Well, Mitch Nielsen's another one that's in there who's
versatile guy.
Coming off a really good season
for Mitch. Best season so far.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of quality there. And then you got Logan Wade, Steph Welch, obviously from hitting lefty.
And of course, our boy from the Bandits, Goofy.
So it's a really nice bunch of guys to have.
And like you say, a lot of versatility too.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that can flip between second and third, first and third, second and short. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what sort of starting lineup is thrown out there for game one, I think.
So Johnny Deeble's got some tools there, hasn't he? He
Yeah.
really has got a lot of tools to play with.
A lot of flexibility.
And the boys should do pretty well. What about the outfielders, mate?
The outfield's an interesting one, I think.
It is an interesting one, I reckon.
Yeah, Mitch Denny is probably one that's going to be floating around out there. Obviously, we've spoken about Trent Olchin earlier tonight.
Joining the team. A couple of guys that haven't sort of played a lot of ball of late, but hopefully they can pick it up quickly.
That's it. And there's
hit the cages.
And one old name that we've seen in there for years now, it seems. Luke Hughes, who's listed.
Luke Hughes listed as an outfielder.
Yeah.
Playing a lot of second base in the ABL.
So obviously, if you throw him into the infield,
DH as well, possibly.
Throw him in the infield, that's insane depth.
Exactly.
He can play
really
field,
good point. So some good bats there. The Candyman's there as well.
Yes.
The Candylands. We love the Candyman.
And Aaron Whitefield.
Yeah, the youngster, the kid. So he'll have a great time. Imagine what he'll be soak up the experience of those players.
And if all things going well, we end up in the World Baseball Classic, that'd be some sort of a tournament for him to be a part of.
Oh, absolutely. If he's in there and gets a couple of W's with the boys, soak it up, learn plenty of stuff. It's a really good experienced team that should bring home the chocolates. Really.
It is. You look through those names that you said, there's a lot of experience there of guys who played, not just at pro level, but in the international tournaments. We've had a lot of guys that have played in the World Baseball Classic already, and tournaments all over the place. We've got some Olympians in there. It's just a very deep quality roster.
Hopefully the boys play loose. The pressure's on them, I guess. The other teams aren't expected to knock them off. New Zealand's probably their biggest threat, given that they've got a couple of guys with experience. But at the end of the day, the Aussies should bring it home.
Well, they are the home side. They are the favourites. The pressure's going to be on, but just looking purely at quality of the rosters, they're definitely the team.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Close, and that's pretty much it for this season. But before we wrap it up, don't forget, Monica Madness. We're down to the final.
A little bit
There's only
more to
two
go.
left. And who have we got?
We have Travis Tingle
The Tingle Man,
versus
Max Double X.
Big Double X.
Max Double X Tissenbaum. So that'll be up before you see this. Get voting. Vote for your favourite. We'll see who takes home the crown. It's Adelaide versus Brisbane again.
And Big Double X, I'll tell you what, he's got some sort of support base.
Double X has got some following. He's got some peeps that follow him on Twitter, so it'll be tough to toss.
If you're a Tingle fan, get on board.
Get on board with the Tingle Man and give it a go. Apart from that, congrats to the Bandits. Sensational season. Hats off. Thanks to everyone who's contributed to our show, who's been on Twitter, been on Facebook. We'll be keeping it up in the off season. We'll be around the place, so don't forget we're there.
Thanks also, Boris, to all the guys who've given their time for the interviews. We've had players,
Absolutely.
we've had administrators, we've had umpires, we've had a bit of everything. Managers, Steve Mintz last week, which was great. So to those guys, appreciate your time. Don't have to do it, but they've all been more than happy to be involved.
Yeah, tip of the hat to the Adelaide Bite guys who have sort of let us in the door every week to do the show.
Yes.
Sometimes we've had to climb the fence, but normally they've let us in.
The groundskeeper for not turning the sprinklers on us every week.
Absolutely, but yeah, really appreciate that. And like Chloe says, all the interviewees, sensational. Anyone who's interacted with us, of course, to Gary Nielsen for supplying some wicked tops for us this season.
Done very well, thank you.
And to Dan for being the middleman to get them to us. Appreciate that, guys. I want to thank all the boys that have helped us out here behind the scenes. We've got Sammy, we've got Tommy, Jonathan, of course Darren behind the scenes. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. We'll hope to be back bigger and better next season. So, if there's anyone out there who wants to give us a bit of help with sponsorship, don't be shy.
More than happy.
Give us a buzz. Get in contact with us. And
any ideas, any contributions, we're more than appreciated. We'll listen to everything.
So keep the feedback coming. Get on the boys for the WBC. Get your Aussie gear out. Bring the boys home. So we go to the big show. And from Boris Kilpatrick and Janga Clothing, that's it for ABL Hot Corner for this season. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.